Hello, hello. The Sungates Radio is on and Holistic Health and Bliss for Women with me, Rita Burak and Svetlana Burak. Hi, Svetlana.
Hi, Rita. Hello, everyone. Hello to our listeners.
Svetlana Burak is integrative health coach and thyroid wellness specialist. She works with people with thyroid disorder who would like to attract their ideal weight, more energy, and more joy in their life.
Thank you, Rita. Let me introduce my beautiful co-host, Rita. She's also a certified holistic health coach and a graduate of Institute for Integrative Nutrition, a co-founder of Sungates Wellness Center in Wheeling, Illinois, and a guide to Spiritual Hospital of John of God in Abadiânia, Brazil. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Svetlana. I hope everybody had a very warm, nice, and full of nice food and healthy food Thanksgiving and enjoy their time with friends and family. And today we are talking more about food. What is our topic today, Svetlana?
Well, today we're continuing our conversation, actually. From a previous show, we're going to expand on selecting healthy foods. But today we're going to focus on not just the healthy piece, but on ethically grown and harvested types of food. The types of food that not only support our bodies and our health, but also our environment, our local economy, our farmers, things like that. So food that's good for everyone.
Great. Thank you very much. And as a last time, we, as a reminder, we talked about how our ancestors were finding food, how food was not packaged in the boxes. And we talked about seasonal eating, how to choose food in the fall. We also talked about ingredients, how to read ingredients. We touch base on how to eat intuitively, how to choose food by listening to our body. And also, we talked about lots of things, about glycemic index, about sweeteners. So it was a great program, and I'm sure you can find it on iTunes or on Sungates Radio YouTube blog or Sungates Center Facebook. There is a recording for it. Yeah?
Oh, if you missed it.
Right. Can you remind our listeners how to find us on iTunes?
Very simple. You just go under podcasts and you search Holistic Health and Bliss for Women. And you will see our logo. It has a butterfly in it. Yes.
Right. Yeah, the beautiful butterfly.
Yes, and it has all of our recordings. Feel free to subscribe. This way you will get notifications of any new podcasts, as well as this is a wonderful way to support us in what we're doing. So
great. And by helping us, we're actually helping each other to stay healthy and full of energy. That's what we need.
That's right.
All right, moving on. Today we start with organic food. Organic versus not organic.
Yes. So organic, non-organic, definitely hot topics, sometimes controversial depending who you talk to. So we're going to present you some ideas and facts. And of course, it's up to you to choose based on what we share with you. I myself personally, from my family, like to choose organic. In fact, organic foods is what the original food is in the first place. It didn't used to be that foods were sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, used chemical fertilizers. foods were raised organically.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, that has changed. Right now, lots of farming uses chemicals to grow their foods, and so what does that mean for us, for our health? Studies have shown that these chemicals have shown to cause cancer and diseases of liver, kidney, and blood. They also compromise our immune system. So by avoiding these chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, chemical fertilizers, we keep the chemicals off our plate. We also protect our future generations, like our kids. Children are 4 times more sensitive to these chemicals than adults. I mean, just think about it. Their bodies are so much smaller. Their systems are so much more delicate. So definitely, with my kid, I try to give as much organic as possible. By choosing organic, we also protect our environment. For example, the quality of our water. Because of all these chemicals in our fields, our main source of drinking water has been infiltrated by these chemicals. Like half of our country's source of water has been contaminated. So that sounds pretty scary to me. Also, when I choose organic, I know that I'm helping small farmers. I support the quality of the soil, because organic practices really focus on enriching the soil with quality of nutrients. Therefore, that supports quality and strength of the plants that are grown, increasing the amount of nutrients in the food, and increasing the amounts of beneficial bacteria. So just think about like our gut health and our autoimmune health. That's pretty huge. And of course, one of the biggest reasons I choose organic is because it tastes better. It doesn't want to taste so much more rich and flavorful. So these are the reasons that we choose organic. Now, I know you might say, well, but that's so expensive. I don't have money for that. What do you say to that, Rita?
Well, I would say that it's so much better to eat less, but for best quality food, that eat a lot and a lot of junk.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. What we're not paying for what we're paying for right now in, spending on junk, later on we might be paying on medical bills, right? So
Exactly. We
save
save for the future, for our own health and health of our kids, which is most important thing.
Right.
Right.
The other thing we can do is choose seasonally grown foods, and that will definitely allow for savings because those are less expensive. Organic, seasonally grown are less expensive than organic, not seasonally grown.
Right. In the food that was brought to us from other states or other countries are usually more expensive because of transportation and other overhead that is put into the cost of the food.
Absolutely.
Right.
Another way to save is to focus on what I call clean 15 versus dirty dozen. So you might not necessarily buy all of your food organic, but focus on for clean 15, dirty dozen. Can you say more about that, Rita?
Oh yes, absolutely. I can actually yeah, the dirty dozen is the list of the food that full of pesticides and usually not very healthy, and that's important to choose organic. Actually, eating fresh produce is the best way to obtain nutritions that support optimum health. But the pesticide used in many crops remain in it's major health concern. So by choosing organic foods, and especially those that are clean, um, and those who are from dirty dozen, it actually put lots of health benefits of fruit and vegetables without exposing yourself and our family to potentially harmful chemicals. Because pesticides is real big health concern. So especially for children, because they're, as you said, they're exposed to toxicity so much more than we are. And it's concerned animal food also, because it puts so many dysfunctioning into the nervous and endocrine system of the animals, and actually goes into our body also. And there's a big risk of health disruption in those systems. So what are those dirty dozen that we are so concerned about?
Mm-hmm.
And there actually a plus. There's some more than just 12 or dozen. There are a couple more that I added to this. Actually me, but some people added into this list. The first one is strawberry. Strawberry can contain so many small things that it's actually observed while it's growing, that it's really important to get organic, or it's important to wash it properly, and maybe even use the fruit and vegetable rinse or some other natural cleansers that to make sure it's really clean, and actually clean it a few times. Then it's apples. Apples that are we buying in the regular store. They have wax, and they not really. Then they can stay fresh for a long time. How apple can stay fresh even without the refrigerator for so long? It's just impossible. Then it's nectarines, peaches, celery. Well, celery is very important to cut and clean thoroughly because they have so many dirt inside. And then it's grape, cherries, spinach, tomatoes, sweet bell pepper, cherry tomatoes, and then it's cucumbers as an addition, hot peppers, and kale, and other greens.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would say that even if we buy those organic, it's very important to clean them properly, thoroughly, in water, in even using fresh and vegetable rinse. So those are those that we have to buy organic.
And that's a long list. I wouldn't remember. Like, I still don't remember. What's the best way to have this at your hand when you're shopping?
I think it's those food that we eat without removing the skin.
Mm-hmm.
Those food are especially important to buy organic. Those food that we kind of clean and remove the skin, that might be okay to buy non-organic. That's how I see it.
That's a really good tip. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I actually downloaded an app. Neat technology. It's called Dirty Dozen. It's very easy. I don't have to try to remember. Right. So, or if you're at home, you can always Google Dirty Dozen. It's a list that gets updated every year, but Environmental Working Group, EWG, so they do the research and they put out the list updated list every year with the Dirty Dozen and then the Clean 15. That's the other spectrum, right?
Mm-hmm.
That lists 15 fruits and vegetables that are have the lowest amount of pesticides.
Right.
Doesn't mean they're like completely free of them, but they're the lowest and the safest ones.
Mm-hmm. Well, those foods are avocado, the sweet corn, also, as I remember it right, it's pineapples. Well, basically those foods that are we remove the skin from. It's also cabbage that not necessarily we have to buy organic. It's sweet peas. They might be frozen or fresh. Onions. I think it's 7, and also asparagus. For some reason, they decide. Well, it's really hard sometimes to really understand why some foods are really important to buy organic, some not. It's also mangoes, and there are a few more. Papaya, I believe. There kiwi and some other fruits, like we remove skin from. Also, eggplant is also goes in that category of 12-15. Grapefruit. I think our listeners can always look it up. It's very easy because I don't remember them all. And sometimes, well, we're humans. We go buy the food sometimes which is cheaper, but good quality is always a good idea.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, moving on, can we talk about GMO and why is it important at such a hot topic?
It's huge. It's politically charged. It's it's definitely a hot topic for a lot of us. What are GMOs? For those of the listeners who are not familiar with GMOs, those are genetically modified organisms. A plant, could be a plant or an animal, microorganism whose genetic makeup has been modified in the lab using recombinant DNA methods. They're also called gene splicing or transgenic technology. This is a relatively new science, and it creates unstable combination of plant, animals, bacteria that do not occur naturally or through traditional crossbreeding methods. So this is very different from what we see in nature, and it's different from traditional crossbreeding. So the big question is, are these things safe? And there's been, again, so much controversy and very little consensus in the scientific world about this. Now, I'll tell you this. Most developed nations do not consider GMOs to be safe, and they have some really serious restrictions, or they completely ban production and sale of GMOs. The exceptions are US and Canada. Now we are progressing in that area. 3 of the states have passed laws that allow consumers to choose whether they want their food to contain GMO or not. So the foods must be labeled in Connecticut, Maine, and Vermont. So they passed the GMO labeling acts, thank goodness. Because I personally want to decide for myself whether I want to put that, laboratory modified food in my body or not. I personally do not want to play Russian roulette. I don't want to, take chances. I've also have learned that there are studies that that show that GMOs are not safe. In fact, American Academy of Environmental Medicine urges all doctors to prescribe non-GMO diets for their patients. And they cite animal studies showing that there's organ damage, gastrointestinal, immune system disorders, accelerated aging, and infertility. And they also talk about human studies that show how GMOs can leave material behind inside us, causing long-term damage. Again, I don't want to play, a Russian roulette with this. So how do you find out when you go shopping? How do you find out what is GMO and what is not? Well, one rule, and this is not foolproof, but this is one of the best ways, is to look for organic foods. So organic foods are not allowed to use GMO seed. The other way to find non-GMO foods is look for GMO project verified, non-GMO project verified labels. So for those of you who haven't seen those labels, I'd like for you to have this fun experience next time you go shopping. Mm-hmm. Look for that label, non-GMO project verified. So this is a third-party testing company, and this is something that you can use to select foods that are non-GMO. Now, these foods are not necessarily organic, so they might still contain pesticides and herbicides and other, chemical stuff, but they should not have genetically modified substances in them. Now, the reason I say it's not foolproof is because, sadly, genetically modified seeds are known to cause cross-contamination. I mean, all it takes is some wind to blow from one farm to another to carry those GMO seeds. So, unfortunately, organic farming and non-GMO farming has been affected. At the same time, environment has been affected by the use of GMO. So the GMO use is not only, a health consequence, but it's also a really, really big environmental consequence. Sadly, in the interest of time, we don't have the time to go deeply into that. But when you choose foods and you want to think about caring for environment, choose non-GMO. I urge you to.
Yeah, great. Thank you. That was very interesting and very useful. We should all pay attention to it. Just want to remind our listeners that Svetlana Burak can be found on myhousebeat.com, and you can find me if you're in Chicago area. You can find us in Wheeling, Illinois, Sungates Center, located on intersection of Dundee and Milwaukee, southeast corner, and we are on the second floor. Some people have a hard time to find us, but we are here, and we always happy to see everybody who is looking for change or any information on spiritual development, and we have lots of events and classes to offer. And the website is sungatecenter.com. Continue on. So who do we trust when we even buy an organic food? There are so many options to go for. Whole Foods. Sometimes I've seen so many articles that Whole Foods is not really that trustful. So where we go to buy non-GMO and organic food? Well, there are lots of options to choose from, but to me, the first option is, of course, to grow your own food. Well, it's not the option for everybody, but I see it as a benefit not just to growing your own food, but to have some physical exercise in your connection with the earth and the planet. And to me, it's just a great stress release when I go on my backyard and I do put plants or seeds or take taking care of all the plants that I grow, I have a big release of anything that I've been through the day, or anything that going on in my life. So it's like meditation with the plants, which is amazing. Yeah, and it's safe because you're not putting any pesticides or any not organic food into your plants, and they, in return, they're giving you amazing fruits and vegetables. The good thing is to grow your own tomatoes or cucumbers or whatever you choose, whatever you like, and it's not hard. Especially, at least if you have some space on your backyard. If you don't, there is some options to grow your own vegetables inside in pots, or even you have a small space like a balcony. There is always ways to grow your own food if you're into it. Well, that's the one option. Another option is to buy local farmer foods on the local farms, local markets. And I know, Svetlana, even being here in Evanston, you've done this a lot. There's so many marketplaces, farmer markets around Chicago area, and I'm sure in California too.
Oh yeah, there's a whole abundance of local farms here, absolutely, and you can definitely get to know them, and the farmers at the local market, farmer market stands. You can ask them questions about how they grow their food, how they raise their animals. I think that getting to know your farmer is definitely one of the best ways to get to know what you're putting in your body.
Right, and we have an amazing experience together when we had a trip to one of the Amish farms here, and it was such an unusual experience in seeing those Amishes who are taking care of their animals, and especially animals.
Yeah.
It's just heart-taking how they love it and how they taking care of them, and the food that they offer us is just amazingly tasty and safe and fresh.
Absolutely. They have, the scale of their farm is relatively small. So what you're getting, for example, the milk you're getting is not mixed from 1,000 different animals. You're getting non-homogenized dairy. Getting raw dairy. We'll talk about that in a minute. You can see how they treat their animals. Like you said, Rita, they do not separate mother from the baby during the milking. And that's one of the biggest humane considerations when you are looking for dairy, for example, is one of the questions you can ask. Whether they separate the mother from the offspring. The food was definitely delicious. We got to ask the questions from the farmers. And I do want to say that not all Amish farms are the same. In fact, I remember when I was shopping at a store and I picked up some kind of a product, and I looked at it and it said Amish. And I'm like, oh, eat healthy. And I started reading ingredients, and my eyes went really wide and my jaw dropped because there was stuff in there that I would not put in my body. So yeah, just because it says Amish does not mean it's amazing. You got to ask questions.
Right, exactly. It's always a good idea to ask questions to make sure, because you can get answers you not expect to get.
Yes.
Right.
Another wonderful way to participate in the local economy is to sign up for a CSA. I've been really enjoying CSA in Illinois and here in California, in San Diego. What CSA is, Community Supported Agriculture. So for those of you who don't know how it works, so a farmer offers a certain number of shares to the public, and Typically, a share consists of a box of vegetables, maybe a vegetable and fruit mix. They might include honey, nuts. Some of them offer animal products. And so, and a consumer then signs up for a membership or signs up for a share. And then in return, you get fresh box of food, vegetables, fruits, whatever it is that you signed up for. And so this way you're, benefiting yourself and the farmer is benefiting at the same time. So the farmers, when you sign up, let's say in the beginning of the season, and this is what some of the farmers offer, for you to sign up, for like 3 or 6 months, and they get to use that money to market earlier in the year, before their 16-hour days in the field. So it helps with their cash flow, and they also get an opportunity to get to know you. And for us, the consumers, we get to eat super fresh food. Most of the CSA food that I get here is just been picked like day before. So very high in nutrients and vitamins. I get exposed to new foods, which is really fun because, I get to play around in the kitchen and try new recipes. So I kind of like push my boundaries, my limits a little bit. And a lot of farmers, CSAs offer events for their members. So you get to visit the farm, and my little one loves that. It's like, it's like a holiday. We get to pick foods and we get to learn about the farm. And then my son always asks now, whenever, let's say, we're eating carrots, he's like, is this from Susie's farm? This is the farm we get our CSA from. So they really get to connect, with the farm and the farmers. We get to develop relationship. We get to know what's in our food and what goes into our body. So it's a really wonderful way to support your local farmer and support your body. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Svetlana. I think we share lots of information today for our listeners to digest and research and go Google maybe, or if they need our support, we can always, because this information is very general, it goes for everyone, but for some people who need personal support and attention, we are here. Svetlana can be found at myhealthbeat.com, and you can...
Or in San Diego.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
People in San Diego area. Mm-hmm.
Or she can be reached on Skype or on the phone at any time. And you can find me in Illinois, in Chicago, in Wheeling, at sungatecenter.com. And we can connect with you personally and give you more personalized advice on what food to choose. Some people cannot eat dairy and some can. So what the best source for fruit and vegetables or dairy in our local area here in California or Chicago area. So next time we're going to expose more on that, and we can talk more about, we're going to talk more about vegetarians or people who eat meat, how to choose, how to tune into your body. Is it emotional, or it's just the choice of your body to eat or not eat meat? And more interesting topics. So tune in and listen on sungatesradio.com next Monday, 12 Central and 10 Pacific.
Absolutely. We can definitely dive deeper into that topic. And I do want us, we promised to our listeners, want to delve a little bit into choosing quality meats, dairy, and eggs, for those of you who are interested. This is, if I were to choose for the sake of saving money, which foods I would to buy organic or type quality, I would always go for dairy, meat, and eggs. That is if I consume dairy, meat, and eggs. So this goes for those who do choose to eat animal products. Not everybody does, and we respect that. So let's talk about that and why. First of all, by choosing top quality, let's say meats, you're getting higher quality through increased omega-3 fatty acids, conjugated linoleic acid, that's CLA, increased amount of vitamin A and E and D and other nutrients. So highly nutritious, a lot more nutritious meats. And how do you find those? So you want to ask your farmer or wherever you buy your meats from whether the animal has been 100% grass-fed, never finished with grains, never injected with antibiotics or growth hormones. How's the animal harvested? Is it humanely harvested or not? Now, pastured animal does not guarantee that it's 100% grass-fed. So if it says pastured, great, but that does not guarantee you're getting the best quality. In fact, even pastured, there's been some loopholes with that, and not, pasture does not mean they're always on the pasture. For those of you who do consume dairy, look for non-homogenized, unpasteurized, raw. Now, I'm going to say this. Most of the states do not allow these products on the shelf. Do not allow raw, unpasteurized products on the shelf. But you can find them through local farmer or cooperative. And again, just because they are unpastured or raw does not mean they're high quality. You got to find out how those products are created, how they're gathered, for the sake of safety and for the sake of quality. And what about eggs, right? What kind of methods are we looking for? We want them, the birds, to be pastured, not just cage-free, but pastured, and fed organic foods. So those are some of the tips for you when you go shopping or when you go looking for a farmer. These are the questions you can ask them.
Great. Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you very much. And for our listeners, have a great week, great, healthy, happy week. Getting ready for next holiday, for Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year, and we'll listen to us next Monday, same time, same place. Thank you, Svetlana.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rita. Thank you to all of our listeners, and I look forward to connecting with you next week.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.